Hey guys, I just want to recommend more art books that helped me with my art and also inspired me. This first book I want to talk about is a book on Alphonse Mucha's major projects that he had worked on, and it just shows you all of his plates and all of his ornamental and decorative designs and a lot of his paintings and drawings and his graphic work. He was a Czech painter, illustrator, and graphic artist, best known for his distinct and decorative style. If I could juice anyone's style, or at least just with someone's style that inspires me, it'd be Alphonse Mucha. His ornamental and symmetrical motifs almost always please the eye and never cease to inspire. The next book I want to talk about is Hogarth's Dynamic Wrinkles and Drapery, and I think it's a must for beginner artists, but I want to warn you, his examples and drawings I believe were mostly from imagination and what he already knew, and they weren't from life. So these drawings are his interpretation of what he knew, of his knowledge of wrinkles and drapery. I'd take it all with a grain of salt, but it's a good starting point to understand how the body moves with clothes over it, and you know, with drapery and wrinkles and all that. Use this book as a loose reference. I still believe it's mostly correct on the wrinkles, but there are some problems with it, and there are some problems with all of Hogarth stuff. But again, I still think it's a good reference as a starting point, and it's a solid supplement to some life studies of wrinkles. So don't always forget to get some actual life studies, on top of this book. I still highly recommend it. The next book is the DC Comics Guide to Penciling Comics by Klaus Janson. I really like this book because even if you aren't interested in doing comic book or sequential art, you can get a very quick rundown of a lot of subjects like composition and anatomy, certain types of paneling. Just if it's something that you've always been interested in, I think it's worth a read. You get to understand how sequential art works and why they do it that way and why it's important to do it that way and why it's critical to do it in the way that comic book artist works and why it has always worked. You also get a rundown of how to tell a proper story by using still images, when it comes to paneling. I don't know, I really like this book. I find it really interesting. Even though I'm not too interested in doing comic book art myself, I still find it a fun read. Now, the next book is one of my favorite books that I own, Drawing People. It's a pretty broad book of information on body weight and shifting, anatomy, poses, value range. It has a lot more general art philosophy and knowledge. It tackles a lot of problems artists have drawing people. This book gives you a sense of why you're drawing something. Really love it. It shows you how to draw children and kids. You don't really see that a lot, in most other art books. It's one of my favorite books that covers almost everything when it comes to drawing people, probably everything. I highly recommend this book. I think this is one of those books that's just like you have to have it in your art book library. Love this book. Couldn't recommend it highly enough. This next book, The Art of Pixar, I don't think you need to introduce that to anyone. Everyone knows who Pixar is, and it just shows you why Pixar is praised so much and why they're so respected, because they have some of the best artists. And with this book in particular, you see a lot of the color mood illustrations. They're looking for a mood. They're trying to tell a story. This book is all about color and ideation of moods. What is the story? What do they want to tell? What's the environment feeling like? What emotion are we trying to convey in the story? Do those colors match the vibe of the scene? You also get a lot of amazing art by, again, some of the best illustrators in the biz, right? And when is that a bad thing? I highly recommend this book, and also nostalgia for some of our favorite movies. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. If you have any ideas, go ahead and shout them out in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.